So today I want to share a pretty vulnerable story. If you guys don't know me, my name is Matt Smith. I'm an entrepreneur. The last 10 years I've sold tens of millions of dollars in revenue, and I've built multiple businesses. And from the outside looking in, my life has been pretty darn good. But in 2022, I hit rock bottom. And most people had no clue. But me and a few of my closest people did. And it was the scariest time of my life. I was depressed, I was lonely, I was suicidal. I was the most insecure version of myself that I'd ever been. And one day I was laying on the couch and I said to myself, Matt, you're stronger than this. And it's time to take some accountability and figure out what the next step forward is. So I reached out to Sean Whalen. He is the owner of Lions Not Sheep. It's an apparel brand. And I asked him, I said, if you could give me one piece of advice when it comes to dating, picking a partner, furthering myself in life, what would it be? He said, Matt, it's simple. You have to become the person you want to attract. And when you do that, you'll find out that not only was it a good thing for your partner, but it'll be a great thing for you. And so I took it serious. I got my journal out. And I started writing down every single thing I wanted in a partner. This was multiple pages of things that I really wanted. And the eye-opening thing that happened during this time was I realized that my last partner almost had none of these qualities, which was somewhat comforting, but more shockingly, I found out that I myself also didn't have very many of the qualities I was looking for in another person. And so I got to work. I said, I'm not going to date. I'm not even going to really talk to anybody except the people that are closest to me until I figure this thing out, until I can become the person of the things I've wrote on this page. And one of those things was I wanted to date somebody who was beautiful and in shape and active, yet I wasn't active or in shape. In fact, I hadn't gone to the gym at that time since like 2017. You know, I made excuses for myself. Well, you're an entrepreneur, you're busy. You have to eat fast food because you're on the road a lot, and all these piss poor excuses that essentially got me to the point of being fat and overweight. I was extremely proud of myself because A, I wasn't a gym guy at all, but I was able to see the physical difference from where I started to where I was then. And to be honest, I was extremely happy with my results. And so that was the start of building my confidence because people were telling me how much better I looked. But it was the mental part that I wanted to hone in on the most. It was the mental struggles that I wanted gone. I wanted them fixed because those were the things that haunted me when I laid in my bed at night. And so the next thing I did was I surrounded myself with very, very tight-knit group. I literally only surrounded myself with people who I wanted to become like. So if I wanted to be in shape, I would surround myself with people who were in shape, which in return would make me want to go work out. If I wanted to continue to grow my business and make more money, I'd surround myself with people that were way higher level than I was in business, and it would make me leave the conversation and want to go do more in my companies. What this did was got me refocused on the things that were important to me because when I was depressed, down, and lonely, the fog was so heavy that none of it mattered anymore. And I'm sure there's some guys that can relate to this, relate to that feeling. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And all of a sudden, all the things that you used to be passionate about, the hobbies you used to like to do, they no longer matter. You have no interest in them anymore. The last thing I did that really kept me on track was this. I always had goals. I always knew I wanted to do certain things in my life, whether it be in business or my personal life, but I had never set a standard to live a certain way so I could actually achieve those things. And so I asked myself, Matt, what would somebody who has the life you want, how would they live? What would the standards in their life look like? What kind of things would they or wouldn't they do? And what I learned through this process was it was much more powerful for me not to add new healthy habits, but rather to get rid of unhealthy ones. And what I did was I completely simplified my life. And anything that didn't get me closer to my goals was a no, and anything that got me closer to my goals was a yes. Now this meant saying no to going out on Friday nights, this meant saying no to certain events, this meant saying no to certain people that I knew weren't healthy to be around. In the beginning that was really hard. But I can tell you today it's really freeing, because as I have the standard set, now my saying to myself is hold the standard. You know, it's funny because you'll hear guys brag about how many girls they've slept with or how much money they make. But I think it's more impressive to be able to say how many times you said no to the attractive girl, or how many times you said no to the unethical way of making money. How many times you've chosen the standard to hold it rather than to put it on the back burner for some type of pleasure. And I think that's a huge reason why I used to be so insecure, because I would chase the pleasures of the world rather than the standards that I wanted in my life, because it was just easier. And so if you're a dude who owns a business or doesn't own a business and you're down and depressed and whatever the case is, I want you to first off know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there are people out there struggling with the exact same thing you are. However, nothing is going to change if you don't change your life. So do this one thing. Get a piece of paper out, get a journal, and write down everything a person that you want to become like has. What's their character like? What do they do every day? And then reevaluate your life and ask yourself, out of the things that I've listed here, am I like most of them, or am I not like any of them? And if the answer is you're not like any of them, then it's time to get to work to tackle them one at a time. And what I promise you, regardless of how hard it's been, regardless of what you went through, regardless of how depressed, how sad, how lonely, how insecure you are, if you do these things, you will become unshakable. You will become overly confident. You will become comfortable in your own skin. You will say no to the things that you used to say yes to, because you will hold the standard in your life. I will end with this. We will never escape the bad things that happen to us in this life. For life will always punch us in the face from time to time. But we can begin to build ourselves, our hearts, our minds, our bodies in certain ways where we can weather these storms better than most. Today's your day to start building that version of you.